Hello, children. Today's topic is animal tissues. Animal tissues are classified into four main types on the basis of their structure and function. As you can see in the table, we have types of animal tissues. So here first we have animal tissues are broadly classified into epithelial, connective, muscular and nervous tissues. Epithelial tissues is divided into squamous, cuboidal, columnar, ciliated tissues. Connective tissues are further divided into connective tissue proper, skeletal tissue, fluid connective tissue. Then muscular tissues are divided into involuntary, voluntary and cardiac, and nervous system as it is. We will see all these classifications one by one. First we start with epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissues are the simplest tissues. It forms a continuous layer on the external surface on entire body and its organs. So on the basis of its shape and functions of the cells, it has been further classified into four types. First one is squamous epithelium, second is cuboidal epithelium, fourth is columnar epithelium, and the third is columnar, and fourth is ciliated epithelium. We first start with squamous epithelium. Squamous epithelium cells are thin, flat and irregular shaped cells. They are found in the lining of cavities like mouth, heart and other organs. Their main function is to protect the underlying parts of the body from mechanical injury and prevent entry of germs. Cuboidal epithelium, they are cube-like or cubicle shaped cells. They are mostly found in the kidney tubules, thyroid vessels and in other glands like salivary or sweat glands. Their main function is to help in excretion. Excretion example will be all type of body waste materials in the form of urine, in the form of excreta, etc. Then secretion in the form of saliva or sweat from the body. Next is the columnar epithelium. Columnar epithelium is column or pillar-like shaped cells. They are mostly found in the lining of stomach, small intestine and gallbladder. Their main function is to absorb the digested food and to secrete the mucus. Mucus is necessary in the internal lining of stomach and intestine, so that the food which is coming from the mouth through the esophagus and reaching to the stomach, it can be easily passed to the other organs, that is small intestine and further organs. This helps in the proper smooth passage of the food or a chyme, which we say, from one organ to another in the stomach. Next we come to the ciliated epithelium. Ciliated epithelium is a cuboidal or columnar cells. They have a thread-like cilia form ciliated epithelium. Usually cilia is considered to be a locomotory organ which helps in movement and passing the things which is coming in the passage. So here hair-like structures are here cilia. Therefore, its function is to move the particles in one direction and basically from the ducts. Now, where are these found? These are found in the lining of windpipe or in the windpipe, bronchi and kidney tubules. About the windpipe and kidney tubules we will study later when we study the chapter respiratory system and excretory system. So this was all about the epithelial tissue. Now we come on to the next tissue, that is the connective tissue. Connective tissue is a bonding and supporting tissue. It helps to bind or connect bones to other bones. It can help to connect muscles to bones and binds other tissues also. So it gives support to various parts of body by forming packing around organs so that they do not get displaced by the body movement. The space between the cells of the connective tissue has a lot of space. So the connective tissues have a space. Connective tissues are very few in number and they have large spaces between them. So those spaces are filled by a gel-like substance which we called as matrix. Types of connective tissues are connective tissue proper, skeletal tissue, and fluid connective tissue. Now, on the basis of the structure and the function, connective tissues are divided into connective tissue proper, skeletal tissue, and fluid connective tissue. But collectively, when we say we can collectively for all the three, we can get these five following main types of connective tissues. First one is tendons. Tendons mostly it helps to join muscles to bones, and it also helps in the movement of the bones when some contraction or relaxation of muscles takes place. Then we come on to the ligaments. Ligaments are the ones which help to connect bone to bone. Now these are elastic structures, so they allow bending and rotation movement over a joint. Then we come on to the third connective tissue, that is bone. Bone is very important part of a body because it provides shape to the body first of all. Then it helps in protecting vital organs such as brain and lungs. Okay, within the rib cage we have, and the brain is protected inside the skull or cranium. Then the important structures like RBC and WBCs, that is red blood cells and white blood cells, which are very important for our body, they are formed in bone marrow. Fourth main type of connective tissue is cartilage. Now cartilage is a non-porous and elastic connective tissues. Where do we find this? We find this connective tissue, this kind of connective tissue, that is cartilage, in ear pinna, in the nose tip, in the epiglottis, and in the lower part of the rib. So mostly we can just see that when we do something and we are scolded by someone, so they just twist the ears or a nose. So how is it possible? This is because they are made up of, and we don't feel pain also, so because they are made up of cartilage and they are flexible. So there is a difference given between bone and cartilage in your book. I want you all to just go through it and learn the differences. Next is the blood. Out of the five main component of the blood, last one component of connective tissue, the last one is the blood. Blood is a fluid connective tissue and it consists of mainly two components. First is the fluid component and the second is the cellular component. Fluid component is called blood plasma and cellular components are red blood cells, that is RBC, WBC, that is white blood cells. They are often called as red blood corpuscles and white blood corpuscles also. Then the third cellular component is platelets. Red blood cells carries oxygen to the cells, and this way the food is oxidized to get energy. Then WBC, they help in fighting against any disease. So if any kind of germ or foreign particles tries to enter our body, so they help our body to fight against that. Then blood platelet, it helps in the clotting of blood. So in case whenever we are injured or in case of injury, we see for some time blood may ooze out, but after some time it stops oozing out. It is because of the property, the kind of a protein present in the platelet, which helps to clot the blood at that time. Okay, thank you.